Those who have faith and do righteous works and establish prayer and pay the poor rates, for them shall be their reward with their Lord, and no fear shall be upon them, nor shall they grieve. Empathy is a value ingrained in the Islamic faith. Empathy for all, men and women, young and old, rich and poor, no matter the religion, the background, the language or race. Empathy for all. This value is repeated many times in the Holy Quran and was a tradition of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. It's the inspiration that led the Jaffari Ahlulbayt Centre in Toronto, Canada, to reach out to their community and continue the legacy. For the past 16 years, the Ahlulbayt Centre has been a safe haven for thousands of homeless men and women. They've lost a necessity in their lives and are living on the streets in the York region of Toronto. The centre works in partnership with the local charity Mosaic. It was set up to bring people off the streets during the winter months. The charity's Out of the Cold programme offers emergency shelter, food and medical facilities. Although it's not religious-based, Mosaic works with various religious communities. Shabir Jaraj, president of the Jamaat, explains how they got involved.
The Out of the Cold program is basically aimed at serving the not very well-to-do people who are mostly living on the streets. And this is a project that we have undertaken with the interfaith group, the Mosaic group, and basically we are assigned one night a week, and so our volunteers are here to serve them. Okay, I believe this project started about 16 years ago, and as I mentioned, it was part of the interfaith group, Mosaic group, so we were approached by other churches and synagogues and temples to take part in this project. And at that time, we did not have the best of facilities. As you can see now, we have plenty of space, and we are a very dedicated team of volunteers who take care of these guests as they arrive here. This is just one facet of the activities, the outreach activities that our Jamaat members and our Jamaat takes part in. We have other initiatives as well, and we think that this is very important for two reasons. Number one is that we are performing an Islamic duty, and we are an Islamic organization. The second part, of course, is for us to be able to contribute to the greater society and to make sure that we do get recognized that we are also a community that's here to serve the wider community.
80% of Mosaic's funding comes from local government, the remaining 20% through its own fundraising activities. Rahana Sumar started volunteering with the charity 10 years ago. She's now employed as the program manager for Out of the Cold.
Our clients are basically two types. We serve the chronically homeless population, which are people that are really living on the streets and have no homes of their own. But we also service the working poor or the low-income population. So these are people that are housed, but they can't afford to pay for the rent and food and other things. So they're having difficulty making ends meet. So our clientele are really both populations. Our homeless population, the chronically homeless, are the ones that sleep overnight at the locations, and then our low-income populations are people that come in to access our meal programs and our shower facilities and our clothing bank and services like that.
Rahana says the economic crisis has worsened the local situation.
So I actually was a volunteer with the Out of the Cold program about 15 years ago when this mosque and the synagogue were running this program independently. I was a volunteer at that time. And then the regional municipality of York, which is our local government, decided to structure and develop the program. So they put a job call out for consultants, and I applied for the job, and I was hired. So since then, which is about 8 years ago, I've been employed by the nonprofit charity. So Mosaic Interfaith is primarily funded by the local government, which is the regional municipality of York. We get about 80% of our funding from the region, and then 20% of it is done through Mosaic's own fundraising activities. We've definitely seen a different type of people that are coming in. So a lot of people that are having more difficulty making ends meet. So people that have lost their jobs, domestic violence or family breakdowns because of the economic situations. We are seeing more people coming to access just the meal programs and support services.
Users of the charity service are 75% male and 25% female. Rahana explains why there are less women attending the programme.
I don't think there's as many females on the street, although our statistics are showing that more females now are on the streets and are struggling on their own. So I'm not really sure what the reason is for why there's fewer females. It could also be because shelters such as these are not really as secure for females, so they would prefer to go into female-only shelters, which there are.
Once a week, volunteers drive men and women who have no food or shelter to the Jaffari Ahlulbayt Centre. They arrive around 4:30 p.m. and leave the following morning after breakfast. At the centre, another team of dedicated volunteers prepare a hot and healthy meal to serve to them. Abbas Silji is a volunteer for the programme. He's been inspired to get involved.
What inspires me to volunteer for this program is knowing I'm giving back to the community at large. Knowing that at the end of the day, this is a way for me to follow in the footsteps of my imams and to kind of relive and experience how they would go out and help the poor and help those who are less fortunate. So that's how I benefit and the reason I like to volunteer for this type of program. Knowing I'm giving back to the community at large. Knowing that at the end of the day, this is a way for me to follow in the footsteps of my imams and to kind of relive and experience how they would go out and help the poor and help those who are less fortunate. So that's how I benefit and the reason I like to volunteer for this type of program.
Since he started volunteering, Abbas's focus on life has changed.
I've been doing this for 11 years now, since I was in grade 8 or 7, so I was about 10 or 11 years old. It started because my dad was volunteering, so I was sitting and he was coming to pick me up, and it was at the Asadiq Islamic School where they'd be doing the program, which I went to at the time. And so he told me to wait for him. And when he came, he said he needed to stay for an hour. So I went and he told me to start registering some of the people, just as something to keep me busy. And having to see all the different types of people you would meet there really changed my world. I had never volunteered before that, and after that point, it was something that I really got into. But because you get to see the happy faces people have, and these aren't people you generally would work with as a youth, right? It's not something you see every day, and I think that from our community as well, you won't, unless you partake in this program, you won't generally see the homeless, you won't get to experience working with them. And so there's a stigma in your mind of what exactly the perception of who a homeless person is and how they are. You see these in movies of how they can be like alcoholics, or they're drunk and they're really rude, but that's not them at all. And so from at a young age, I saw this, and it really changed my perception of how I see less fortunate people, how I perceive the media and how they kind of affect me.
Samar Rivsvi is chair of the Out of the Cold committee. The program is especially close to his heart.
I once read somewhere something like this: people those serve humanity are dearest to God. So I think this program gives me that opportunity to serve the people and serve them in a true sense. In this kind of society, you don't find hungry people or poor people that you can serve dinner to. So this program gives me that very opportunity.
Shirin Sumar is the kitchen team leader. She's been volunteering since 1989, when the program first began. She's always encouraging people to get involved.
This year, I have seen a lot of young women volunteering. So this is how, and once they come here, especially when the teenagers come here, they also learn a lot from this program, because they also realize that life is not that easy for some people. It's tough for other people. And fortunately, we have got lots of young women and teenage girls also working for this program. And the girls, teenage girls, the school students, when they come volunteer here at the end of the program, because they need 40 hours volunteering service for the school, we also sign for their paper that they have worked for 40 hours here. So that also, they also benefit from that.
When the guests arrive, they register with the centre. After this, they all come together with the volunteers to start the programme.
Good evening, everyone, and Assalamu alaikum. We'll start the program with Hasnan reciting some verses from the Quran, and then the translation for everyone's understanding. Hasnan, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I swear by time, most surely man is at loss, except those who believe and do good, and enjoin each other on truth and enjoin each other on patience. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim.
Good evening and salamun alaikum. It's indeed a pleasure for us to come and spend this evening with you, just to show our appreciation to the volunteers, our volunteers and the Mosaic volunteers for doing such a fantastic job. And for our guests, you are there to let us know if there was anything remiss. And we are indeed privileged to have you spend these evenings with us. It's just another opportunity for us to contribute to the greater society and to do our part, and for that we are very grateful.
The facilities allow catering for up to 50 guests and sleeping arrangements for 40. With 90% of people staying overnight, mattresses and blankets are provided, as well as showers. A registered nurse is available for those who require medical attention. Irina Gartzman teaches patients about healthy eating, distributes vitamins, and undertakes health checks.
Most of our patients have mental illness, like, for example, schizophrenia, and sometimes they're not sure what they're doing, what they wanted to do. And we have some patients who they want some services, but they're afraid of, I have a patient who was telling me, I want to benefit from your services, and later he said, I don't want. Well, that's okay. We have some pregnant lady of 16, 17, so also homeless. It's a major problem. And she was not sure. She was looking for an apartment. She doesn't have any medicine to buy, and I was assessed here, and I give him medicine according to her condition. Yeah. The most scariest experience I came across, I'm so sensitive as people, because in long-term care, people geriatric patients, people are dying, and I'm so sensitive when I see people dying. And I know the person, it was over 90, they wanted to leave, and they told me, oh, I'm not going to die, but the next, I don't know his condition, he or she is a palliative, and next day he's gone, the person is gone.
William has been homeless for 9 months. He was working in renovation but wasn't making enough money to pay his rent. He's extremely grateful for the programme.
I've been living on the street for, say, 8-9 months, and been going to out to the cold places, and every different day. I end up homeless because I does renovation. When we can't collect the money, it makes it difficult to pay your rent and everything like that, so then you end up going to some people go to the shelters and then go out to the cold in the winter time. That's why I end up here. Well, what I like about the program is that you meet so many different people from different cultures, and some of them help you to try to better your way of living, and you get to come out of the homelessness and get back onto a solid footing. Well, the help that I got from this program, I met some positive people, and in a short while I'll be able to get back on my own, because I do different things like renovation, scrap metal, and once that starts to go back in place, everything will be fine. One of the most positive experiences is being able to see a doctor, a nurse in all the locations, which help you, because sometimes when you're on the street, you lose your IDs, and to see a doctor is not easy, or even a nurse. And you get to get like a haircut, you get showers on a regular basis to keep your health up. You meet so many different people from different cultures, and some of them help you to try to better your way of living, and you get to come out of the homelessness and get back onto a solid footing.
Being part of a Muslim community isn't new to him.
I've been living in Canada for a long time and have a lot of Muslim friends from all walks of life. So I visit some of them, we do business together from time to time, so I'm accustomed to the Muslim culture. I learned a lot, because a lot of people throughout the world are misled that all Muslims are violent, and they're some of the most loving, friendliest people you can meet once you get to know them.
There are other stories to tell here at the programme. Randy has been living on the streets for 7 months.
I was diagnosed a year ago with Parkinson's, and the landlord that I had, I was on a lease, and my lease expired at the end of that August of last year. And I asked him to go on a month-to-month because I was looking for a place, because my doctor was in Toronto. And for some reason he didn't want to do the lease, or do the month-by-month. So I needed him as a reference. So if I'd have found a place and was in a year lease with him, then I wouldn't have gotten the reference I needed. And hence, that's why I'm doing the Out in the Cold. I enjoy the program. It's the diversity of going to the different places and meeting the new people and stuff. And it's just a great program. It's something I wasn't even aware was out there until this had happened to me.
Before starting the programme, he didn't know much about the Muslim community.
I've seen stuff on TV, how they shut down, I think it's Times Square in New York, when they pray and stuff like that. And other than that, really, and stuff in the Gulf, and, you know, so on and so forth, that's pretty much all that I knew. I learned that the Muslims are very giving people. You can see the care that they put into it, and that they want to, you know what I mean? They want to help out when they can. And but I can say that about all the religions for the most part, you know. But it was just a side of the Muslim religion that I wasn't aware of. And that's my own ignorance, you know, of, you know, maybe watching too much TV.
One of the volunteers I think we've interviewed already, Bill, it was interesting that just a few weeks ago he was, I do Finch Station now, so I stand there and I wait for, I sign up people, and then I put them on the bus and then they come here. And so I get to spend time just talking with these people for about 2 hours, and it's interesting. So, for example, Bill, he was very intelligent, much more than I ever expected. Someone who, you know, when you think of homeless people, you don't think people who are like really like they have degrees or they have education and they're extremely smart people who might just having bad luck. So for example, we were talking about this center, and at the time there was something going on that was in the news about this, and he knew more about it than I did, and he knew so much more, and he was educating me about my own center. It was built around this time. It was you guys partake in this program and this program and this program, and I was just like, whoa, this guy's like, he knows what he's talking about. And so that perception is just, it gets blown out of the water every year I've been coming, and it's amazing.
Imam al-Sadiq, peace be upon him, requested from his followers to invite people towards the Ahlulbayt, peace be upon them, without using their tongues, rather by using their actions and embodying their morals. Individuals who come to the centre through this project become familiar with the Islamic faith and its values. No judgment, no discrimination, and no intolerance is accepted by Islam. They begin to understand that Islam is a faith of love, harmony, and empathy. The centre strives to create a service which is not only efficient, but helps those in need feel less isolated. However, Hasnan Davdani, Vice President of the Jamaat, says there have been challenges with the programme.
We did have resource challenges, but we overcame them by making announcements and pleading with the general public to come forward. And mashallah, they all came forward and started working for us.
Shirin Sumar agrees a shortage of volunteers can be challenging.
I try my best to encourage the women to come and help us. So if we have more volunteers, we can always make schedule, because for 10 weeks, these are the volunteers who are working throughout for 10 weeks. And sometimes they get tired, sometimes they don't show up. So I only half of the volunteers that I need. And overcoming through all these challenges, but then I have to cope with that. So somehow we manage, alhamdulillah.
Mazahir Durrani is Honorary Secretary for the Jamaat. It's his third year serving the local community.
It is a very challenging thing to really motivate and to bring in people together to keep these services going on, or to keep this. What we do is to motivate, especially our youths and our younger generation, that what are the greater advantages of serving the greater community, and we encourage them and put more emphasis that even from the religious perspectives, what are the advantages, and from the social responsibility point of view, what are the. These are the two main points which we try to hammer it across our youths, and we have been able to motivate them to come forward.
The program has had a profound impact on him.
It really touches my heart that I'm able to share whatever little I have with someone who doesn't have. And even the Almighty Allah has told us through His messenger that you play your part, and then you will see how your Lord plays His part. Because I have a very firm belief that Allah has promised to all the humanity that before you sleep, I will see to it that food will reach you on the earth or wherever you live. Now Allah doesn't come Himself to give this food, so He uses His own agents, human beings like us, and through us He serves the greater creation what He has brought on this earth. That's my belief.
Although the initiative has a positive effect on the local homeless situation, some people remain sceptical. They wonder, is this a temporary solution to a permanent problem? Rahana explains more about Mosaic's ethics.
Our mandate is really to take people off the streets for the immediate, so that people are not freezing outside or starving during the winter months. So it is a short-term solution. The long-term solutions are far beyond our reach, so the federal and provincial governments really need to get involved with long-term solutions, which include anything from the economics of homelessness, increasing the minimum wage or the welfare supports. Affordable housing is a major issue in Canada, so providing affordable housing and supports like mental health. These things are really government responsibilities, and so all we can do really as agencies and as a community is to provide the emergency supports which gets people through day to day.
Following the hardships people face, there are many success stories from the program.
So we have an individual, for example, who was part of this program for, I would say, about 8 years. He's about 40 years or mid-40s, a new immigrant. And when he was here, he was a very quiet individual, didn't talk a lot. But I discovered through speaking to our volunteers that he was actually a mathematical genius. And in getting to know him, we discovered that he knew a lot about math. He spoke about the philosophy of mathematics, and quite an intelligent person. And then I discovered that he was doing his degree at York University. He was doing a master's degree in mathematical engineering or something like that. So it was an eye-opener for us that there was such an individual in this program. He lost the ability to pay for his fees a few years ago. So all he was doing really was trying to work and trying to pay for his fees, and he was living in shelters at that time. So when we found out that he lost his ability to pay for his fees and he only had 1 semester to go to finish a master's, we put a call out to our faith communities, and we had so many people responding to that, and we managed to actually pay his fees for his last semester. And 2 summers ago he called me to say he was graduating with his master's degree and that he'd be honored to have me attend his graduation. So I attended his graduation, saw him walking across the stage with his robes and things like that. It was just such a proud moment for us.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of ISIJ, our organization here, I would like to thank all of you for coming here and give us the opportunity to serve you. I hope you got good service from us, and I would like to ask you guys, did you for 10 weeks have a good meal? Did you enjoy the food? Yeah. Good. So, for that, I have to thank all these volunteers, all these ladies. They were the ones who were cooking. So, like we always say that good things have to end one day. We really had good time. It was actually very nice to have all of you here, and we will miss you, all of you. But unfortunately, the programs have to end. And maybe next year again we'll see you. In the meantime, take care of each other and remember us. And if we have missed any service to you this year, please let us know so that we will keep on improving our program. But this is a good program, and it is not like we are not doing any favor to anybody. This program says a lot about our religion too, when Islam says, look after everybody. Look after your neighbors. So you, all of you, it was a privilege to have all of you here. Thank you very much. Take care of everybody.
I would like to thank the EC and the president of ISIJ of Toronto for coming in and joining us today. I also want to thank you, the Ladies Committee, Shiri Auntie and her group, for helping us out for the last Tuesday and serving us delicious food. I also want to, go ahead, you can clap. There is another group, Mosaic, Sister Rihanna and Mickey, for supporting us all through these 10 days and guiding us with the different things and different challenges. And when it comes to challenges, I also want to thank Dennis and his group, Richard, Michelle, and Dave, for helping us out in different challenging situations. I want to thank you, all the volunteers, for helping me run this program smoothly for the last 10 Tuesdays. It was really, really hectic on times. We were short staffed. We didn't have enough people to come help us out. But somehow we ran different shifts and we covered, I guess, whatever we needed to cover. So I thank you, all the volunteers.
Oh, the best part of my job, the best part is really meeting the people that I do. Like I said, we've got 50 faith communities now and over 1,000 volunteers. So my job is really going to a different place of worship every single night to do what we're doing here tonight, serving people. And I get to see all these various faith communities and all the different ways that they worship God, and yet they're all common in their belief of serving the poor and in other ways. So I've learned a lot about religions and about how all of them are pretty much the same. They all have the same belief systems, and I've seen God personally, myself, in each and every one of those faith communities. So it's been really inspiring for me to visit so many different people and meet probably the best of humankind with all of the terrible things that are going on in the world and all the negative things you hear about. I see the positive. The best of human beings come into this program, and I've made the best of friends. I've learned so much about homeless people myself. Some of my best friends now are on the streets.
I'm glad the program exists, and I would like to help people. If without this program, people can survive, because it's very helpful if people benefit from this program.
it's the diversity of going to the different places and meeting the new people and stuff. And it's just a great program. It's something I wasn't even aware was out there until this had happened to me.
Oh, this program has really changed the way I look at the society. When I see this program once a year, when we saw this our guests, I realize how fortunate we are. We have so much to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what we have, because there are people out there who are really looking for even one meal, and we waste sometimes so much food. So this program has really taught me a lot. Even at home, I tell my children not to throw any food. There are people who go to sleep hungry. So we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us food every day on our plate, on our table, and we have a roof where we can sleep comfortably. When I see this our guests, it really, it hurts, because there are people out there who are less fortunate than us. We are very, very lucky.
Once you get a taste for helping people, once you get a taste for understanding of what you're doing, like the grand scheme of things, and the bigger picture, how you're helping, I don't think you'd ever want to say no. Like I'd feel very bad saying, like if they needed help, for sure I have to be there, because how can you ever say no? Because you know that that's something that Allah wants for you, right? It's something that our imams, I don't think they would ever say no to someone who needed something from them.
After their final dinner together, there's an opportunity to watch a film. Then it's time to get a good night's sleep before they leave in the morning. It's 6:20 a.m. The volunteers are busy preparing a hearty breakfast for their guests. They want to make sure they're strong for the day ahead. For the homeless, it's the last time they'll have a meal together at the centre. Soon it's time to say their goodbyes and place their belongings in the bus. The Out of the Cold programme is complete for another year. For the Jaffari Islamic Centre, it's the end of a successful and rewarding experience. A time to reflect on how the programme has helped those in need of its services. For its guests, a warm memory of the people they met and the hospitality they received remains. It's also the beginning of a new chapter of uncertainty for them. Peace be upon our master, Imam Ali, who has said, people fall under one of two categories. They are either your brother and sister in faith, or they are your counterpart in humanity. We all aspire to change our world and make it more accepting, loving and peaceful. But change does not need us to be wealthy, influential or powerful. Change needs us to be motivated by empathy. Empathy is understanding that all human beings deserve a second chance. It's giving someone a listening ear and an open heart when the world has turned their back on them. Empathy is imagining that this person is a relative and that his or her struggles are our own. Empathy is in loving Allah's children without judgment or discrimination.
I would like to say a few words with regards to the presence of Ahlulbayt TV here tonight. We certainly appreciate your participation, and I think it's something that we can all work together to make sure that we send out the message to the broader community, to the outside community, and make them aware of what activities take place around this center and in our organization as well.